This is Curtis coming at you from Ace Per Head Studios, digging into week 2 of the NFL 2021 preseason. Good talk Dolphins. And there's a lot of good stuff. And week 1 showed some things, some positives. But for the most part, they were amplified in week 2. And it's not about the score, because preseason games aren't about so much what you're doing right. It's what you're not doing wrong. Teams aren't game planning for you. They're not attacking you. A lot of this is just coaches putting things in. They just want to see stuff. But you can check physical tools. You can check situations. You can check ability. You can check technique. And so when you go through this framework on how to evaluate, there was a ton of good stuff. There was a few things that were concerning. We'll save that to the end because I want to really, last week, a lot of things came down. I really had a lot of plans of what I wanted to cover. But as I said, we're working on the studio, still trying to get into stride. And so I had to focus on the Austin Jackson situation. So a lot of the good stuff wasn't being covered, and it was a lot of good stuff. So this time I want to start off with that. And what I'm going to basically do this time is go through what I saw in my evaluations of the tape. Then during the course of the week, I'm going to put out 3 videos. I'll put out with all film in it to justify why I saw what I saw, so you can have the tape for yourself and you can either say, hey man, you're wrong, look at this and I can get better. Or you can have that in your storage bin so you can have more tape to evaluate for yourself. Now, I put out at the last minute a film study of the entire offensive line against the Bears. It was like a couple hours, early that morning before the game. So I did that because I wanted that tape in storage. So if you get a chance, take a look at that, because when I put out the tape this week, it's going to really show a lot of confirmations. So anyway, we're going to have a Tua vid. I'm going to do a Tua video touching on, I might touch on last week. A lot of people are concerned about the interception and all that stuff, but there's a lot of good stuff there. But almost everything I saw was amplified this week. So I might just do the focus on this Tua's game this week, which was really, really good. There was so much good to it. So I'm going to do a Tua video, offensive line video, and then a B-roll video, okay? And so little bits and pieces that I saw that I found that were important or of note, I'll put that in the B-roll. So those are 3 videos that will confirm everything I'm kind of going to go over here. But the first thing I want to go through is Tua. Now, like I said, I have a tendency to try to dot the I's and cross the T's when it comes to my evaluation, the way I present it. Did 2.5 hours of what I saw was a real problem with Tua in 2020. And long story short, you can check it out if you want, if you're new to this channel. Basically, he wasn't healthy, and his health degraded over the course of the season, all the way up into week 17. And you can check to see 2018 Tua versus 2019 Tua after all the surgeries and stuff. And you saw 2 different kind of quarterbacks. And in week 17, his mechanics broke down, his body was breaking down. You can see all kind of issues here. And so the evaluation process really couldn't be accurate. But now you're seeing a healthy Tua. You're seeing a guy that looks a lot closer to 2018 than he did last year. Simple things like his ability to remain calm in the pocket, climb the ladder, short area quickness, delivery of the football, his mechanic. There were a few mechanic issues, and we'll go over that. And even Jason Taylor noted, he's like, this is one-off throw by Tua. But when you go back and you look at the tape of that particular play, you'll see his mechanics were totally off. But for the most part, his mechanics were on, his delivery was on. You can see there was velocity, there was accuracy. Still haven't got to see high velocity on the deep and the deep outs, but that was a good game. He looked healthy, he looked confident. And again, I mentioned in another video, some of the information might be a little dated. It was like a roundup, news story roundup. The poor play of the offensive line in week 1, not the whole offensive line, but portions, and poor play in the offensive line, just portions this week, accentuates Tua's growth from our eyes to see. Because if everything was beautiful and perfect, he would have it wouldn't be as exceptional of growth. But because things were breaking down and he had to remain calm and he had to keep poise and he had to show his mobility. Now, we don't want to see this come regular season, but in the preseason, it really accentuated his growth. Then there was Waddle. We got to see Waddle. We got to see some of the things he could bring. A very scary moment with the injury. I was like, oh, this is a curse. But that was nice to see a little drop of that. You can see the chemistry there. Grant, too. It's, I keep thinking he's going to go because of his inconsistency, but the big play potential, the ability to be just a real threat. Makes it look like maybe he'll stay or maybe trade value. So both those were very, very good looks. But I'm telling you, Mike Gesicki, I don't like how to – I don't think – I think it's going to be very difficult for them to re-sign him because he's going to have a blow-up year. And I don't understand why. I mean, I kind of sort of do. Hunter Long came in. He looked pretty good. But Mike Gesicki really has special, and he's showing it. So that was he had a very good day, and I think you can have a very good season. I just don't know how they're going to keep him. But Hunter Long looked good. Smythe looked good. He looks very physical again in his blocks. He had a nice rub route. So the tight end situation is looking very good. Myles Gaskin did a video on him, talked about how he was not just your average back, and he's showing his run, his pass catching, his balance, his explosion. Myles Gaskin could have an exceptional season. He looks like he fits this offense perfectly. Small guy, able to take, when you put him in space, it's dangerous. And because of this, way this offense is designed with the receivers, there's going to be a lot of space. So I think Myles Gaskin is showing himself to be truly the number one back the Dolphins, for Miami Dolphins. Now, Salvon Ahmed, and Malcolm Brown both look good too. Pass catching, speed by Salvon Ahmed, the power of Malcolm Brown. You have a good group there. Now, again, Gaskin separates himself because of his pass blocking. You check his pass blocking out, his pass blocking stats from last year's technique. He grew substantially from year 1 to year 2. And both Ahmed and Brown had terrible blocks and caused breakdowns. And I think, that's a very critical area that's going to keep both them down, okay? Still good players, and you can kind of scheme around the running back not blocking, but this is another reason why Gaskin is still the number one back. But the other two looked very, very, very good. And then there's it's kind of sad, It's good and sad, but Zach Sealer is without a doubt the second best defensive lineman on the roster. Interior, okay? Agba is exceptional on the edge. But as an interior player, it's Davis number 1 and Sealer number 2. Wilkins will get to him, solid, but he's not as good. He's not as good. It's great that we got him for a song and a dance, Zach Sealer, but there's no denying this kid is excellent. Him and Davis work really well together. Wilkins has some show. Again, we'll get to that. Aiden Adam Butler, who I think is a very good pickup. And he might actually push John Jenkins to get cut because he kind of fills that role, but he's younger. So Adam Butler is really shining. Davis, Sealer, and Butler were excellent. Wilkins was good, solid, but at this stage, it's not a peer. I'll get to that later. I'm holding back. Okay, so then there was Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins is a little surprised by, we have so much receiver depth It's crazy. You're going to have to cut some good players and trade away some good players. He's looking very good. Him and Tua have great chemistry. Eichenberg came in, but not at guard, at tackle. And I'm gonna get more onto that, what that really is showing. He looked good. And in fact, he looked better than Jackson. It's still early, small sample size, but you could see this kid's smart. I saw some technique things I liked, some physicality things I liked. And while I think the original plan was to play him at left guard, they're starting to put the feelers out now at right tackle. And I don't think that means Jesse Davis' job's in jeopardy. Okay, then it was Eichenberg. We talked about Van Ginkel. I know it doesn't really matter. They're going against second and third stringers. But it's nice to see a big player shine. And he was shining. And he wasn't making mistakes. Little slow on a play action. Almost got his hand on the ball. Just a tad slow. But it's preseason. But other than that, man, Van Ginkel looks like he's going to have a very good season. And then I talked about Brennan Scarlett. Big guy, 261 with excellent cover skills. And I said, he's so big that I figured that Flores is going to try to play him on the edge because he can cover and he's physical enough to deal with the run. He's been in a lot. I think he's going to stick, and that looks a good player. And then there's Nick Needham. Now, I was really high on him, and then I got off the train, got back on the train, got off the train. But so far, early in the season, I'm seeing his technique is so sharp. And I really think this kid can take that next step. And what that next step is, I'm not really certain. Right? Pulled off like out of nowhere. We didn't expect anything from this kid, and he fought his way up. Last year, he had a couple of late season breakdowns. First season, he was rated like one of the top 20, I think, steals of the unrestricted free agency or something like that. It was very high on him. But what I'm seeing from him this year, from his technique, his breaks, the way he plays the ball, it is so sharp. So it's very exciting to see that if he pans out, it's going to paste over the slow play of Noah. And we'll get into that. It's very slow, and it's not looking good for this season. And it's kind of very similar to Sealer and Wilkins. Not as bad, because Wilkins is a contributor. He's a solid player. And it goes into a much deeper conversation, too, with this regime. You can say what you want about their blue chip picks, how they haven't panned out yet. It's a little like touch and go. But their ability to find players mid-round, second round, back after, from underneath the floorboards of other teams is tremendous, and it makes up for some of this uncertainty with the blue chip picks. So that was the good. The defense looked good. Offensive line showed a lot. Everything's looking pretty good. And the key piece, too. And we haven't even seen it. Howard, he's just chilling. So Jones had a little slow play early on, but he picked it up. Everything's looking really, really good, guys. And yeah, I know it's the Falcons in second. But when you really start breaking it down, I'll show you the tape. This is looking like a pretty good team. And I still think they're going to have struggles in that early goings. But they're farther ahead than I anticipated in so many areas. And Tua's growth, if his body doesn't break down like it did last year, he can stay healthy and maintain this play and actually grow. It's going to be very good news. Now, the bad news, there's a couple bad things here. Noah Igbenogany is fielding kick returns and not seeing action until the third quarter. For a first-round draft pick to be in the second year and to have tape like he did in the first year, this is not good. It's not good. And I'm not saying, again, when I say not good, I don't mean long-term prognosis. I'm talking about for this season. Noah is in the doghouse, and he's not trusted to play any kind of major part because everybody and their mother is getting starting time ahead of him. Okay, and I have to go through the tape. Last week, he had like one nice play, but again, it was because there was no double move on it, and that's where he really runs into troubles, the double moves. But then I saw some old plays. I gotta do a real study on like what I'm seeing from him. But without all 22, it makes it a little dicey. But the fact that he's returning kicks, they're just trying to find some reason to some value out of him, and then not really finding it in coverage skills. So there's a first round draft pick who's probably not going to contribute too much this year. Wilkins, as I said, there was some spark here and there on the pass rush, but he's still getting blown out a little too much on the run game. Solomon Kinley, still struggling. There's no way you want him starting. No, I mean, they were going against the second and third stringers, and I saw him get beat. And then worse news is Austin Jackson. They covered up for him. They schemed. They actually called plays to protect him. They brought him help. They ran really not. They really did a lot not to expose him. At times they did, and he showed a little bit. But there was way too many plays where it was a hot mess. And in my evaluation, it's a red alert time. I don't see how you can start the season with this guy. I just don't. When you see this tape from this week and you think that he's going against second and third, because he played all the way, I think, into the third quarter maybe. So he's played a full game already. All right, and he's struggling. What is it going to be when he starts meeting stars and he's game planned against, and he's meeting some very potent players in the AFC East twice a season? It was bad. Both Solomon Kinley and Austin Jackson were victimized. It didn't look as bad as the prior week, and there's reasons for that, but you'll see through it, it was not good. I didn't see any growth, and we had to see substantial growth. So overall, though, I think personally, they're trying Eichenberg at right tackle and move Jesse Davis to left. Because Kinley, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with. There's a little bit of concern there. I mean, they can move pieces around. There's pieces they can move right now, but it's going to create a thinness. And Little, I got to see some of his play. It looked okay, but he was going against second and third string. It was really hard to evaluate him. Miami needs to find some more offensive line help, even if it's a depth player. And I think they can. I still think they can find those kind of players. I think that there's some vets out there they can bring in. But Kinley, I'm not too concerned about, but Austin Jackson, this is something major has to happen this week because so far it was still ugly. It was still ugly. So anyway, I think we're all right. I think generally speaking, this team is doing really well. They're going to have to find something. They're either going to have to get a really good week from Jackson or find somebody to come in there. But that's really the only issue. Noah can be in a back-end player. There's so much depth at corner. Right now, it's that left tackle spot. Other than that, this team is looking very good. Very good. So this is Curtis here. I'm going to bring the tape to show you what I'm saying as far as evaluations. Hope you enjoyed and stayed till the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Like I say, I always love the comments. Comments are great. I get so much from you guys. And a shout out to Ace Per Head. Phenomenal sponsor. They want to let you know now is the perfect time to get in on all the action with their world-class software. I say it again, they are phenomenal. They do everything they can to make this show get better. I need the help, so I appreciate that. But they're phenomenal. And so anyway, this is Curtis. Fin fans, be happy. Don't dwell just on that Austin Jackson situation because there's so much good going on. And I do believe they can find some way to remedy the situation. So this is Curtis saying, thank you for staying. Thank you for watching. Be well. Catch you next time.